So I'm going to show you my Indiana Jones collection. Let's say part one. It's not all of it, but it's a little bit of everything to give you an idea of the kind of stuff I like, and where to begin. Of course, my Lego Indiana Jones. It's probably my favorite of all of this stuff. Is he has the idol and his whip and his satchel, and I just love this figure. These are the not so successful line of Indiana Jones action figures that came out a few years ago to coincide with the movie, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. What was cool about them, aside from the fact that they made whole waves that people couldn't get, was each figure came with this artifact in a little box, a little crate. You could even collect the crates if you wanted to make your own warehouse. And the artifacts were, this is one of them, little Easter Island statues, but they were all kinds of things. Not necessarily just from the movies, but actual historic artifacts. So there was lots of these. And if you collected all artifacts, you got a sticker for each one. And you put it on this order form. See? And I had, you put the stickers, and when you filled out the whole thing, you sent it, and you could get this very cool crystal skeleton on a throne. Posable figure on the gold throne, as seen in the movie. A solid piece, very nice. Mine's a little dusty, sorry about that. I know it's somewhat posable, not super posable, but it's very cool little thing. Some of the things they put out that I liked is they made an Ark of the Covenant in one set, removable lid, and inside you can see like sand, and it's a perfect little replica of the Ark of the Covenant. They made another wave. This is one of the harder to find waves, but for the Temple of Doom. But this is a good figure. I really liked it. And I just wanted to keep it in the box and show it to you, because it's indie after being... You know, one problem with this line of figures is there's just too many indies. They made so many indies, and in fact, in the last wave, they basically made the same action figure all over again. They had made this before, this indie with the idol, and then they did it again with a different sculpt, and I never quite understood why they had so many indies and not enough of the other characters. This is a line of Disney Indiana Jones action figures. So, they're a little bit bigger, and they're not as detailed, but you could get them at the Disney store. And these came out before the movie figures did, and after the 80s figures, so this was your only chance to get your hands on an Indiana Jones figure at that time. Here's another one. That's Tim with his jacket off. He's got a machete. The scene is not exactly correct, because this is like Temple of Doom indie, but there's the idol and the sand, and I'm not exactly sure why he has the machete, and he's shirtless like in Temple of Doom, but I'm not shirtless but jacketless. Here's some of the 80s figures. This is Arnold Tolt, the evil Gestapo, and when he flips up his hand, you can see the staff of raw headpiece burned onto his hand. This is a mail-away Belloc that I got back in the 80s. You could only get this figure if you mailed away proofs of purchase from the 80s figures. And the classic original with his original accessories. Indiana Jones figure from the 80s with Sala's torch, but I like him carrying the torch. Spring-loaded arm. Very delicate figure. This figure broke very easily, so I'm glad to own one that's not broken. My 1983 Indiana Jones figure with his accessories. So, this is a Burger King tie-in toy. It's a little running indie, and he's on wheels. And there's a boulder, and there's a button on the back. And if you hit the button, the boulder rolls down. And I guess if this was on a smooth surface, he would run. It's kind of a cool detailing. So, but it's cool. That's how we can get a boulder. Now let's look at some of these books. This is one of my favorites. It's the paperback Raiders of the Lost Ark novel of the movie by Campbell Black. And if you read the novel, it differs from the movie a lot. It has a backstory about the characters that is not in the movie. It has some different versions of some of the scenes in the movie. It's a quick read. You could read it after copyright 1981. It was originally just called Raiders of the Lost Ark, but they changed it. I mean, this is a very quick read. You could grab this and just take it to the beach. You could have this thing finished by the time you were done. Connecticut. They said his university was in Connecticut, and I think they had changed that to New Jersey later. So there are a lot of things in the book that aren't canon. A little bit on the back to get this book. So this is the novel for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And yeah, I did pay $17.96 when it came out because I was super excited for this movie and I wanted to get this book before the movie came out. A lot of people didn't like how this movie was. The book doesn't really have the same sort of divergence from the plot as Raiders did. In fact, it sticks very closely to the movie because now they're very careful about canon and revealing things. So if you watch the movie, you're not going to find much more in this book that's different than what you saw in the movie. It is a hardcover book. This nice golden lettering, so it would look good if you took the dust jacket off. The dust jacket has like texture. $15.46, but there's just not a lot of $15.46 in here, so there's not a lot of and then it shoots to 1957 where the movie starts, and it's not going to differ very much, so don't think that you're going to get any real insights. One thing I did like about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is it did effectively tie the movies with the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles in one scene, and if you've seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about. The scene where he mentions Pancho Villa, and I appreciated that. There was also one episode of Young Indiana Jones that had Harrison Ford. I think it was Mystery of the Blues. And I do understand that they are going to make Indiana Jones 5. I wonder how that's going to go. I didn't care so much for this movie. But, it's a little dusty. I'm sorry about that. I need to dust the top of my books. Clearly. Okay. This is a book called Why Did It Have to Be Snakes? And it's about the historiography of the things depicted in the Indiana Jones movies. So if you're curious about the artifacts that they showed in the movies, this book explains all of the true stories behind them. It's not a very easy book to find, so if you like that sort of thing, this is a good read for you. And it talks about how what the movie shows versus the reality and what this stuff is based off of. It's just fun to read. I mean, it's well written by people who did their research. And then, each section of a book is broken to the movie, so it goes over every major scene in the movie, and analyzes the scene and talks about whether it's an artifact or whether it's a time period or a place that they're showing or an action that they're showing, how accurate that is and how much of it's Hollywood. And some of Indiana Jones movies are just pure Hollywood, like for example the feast in the Pankot Palace and Indiana Jones the Temple of Doom. That's nothing like what people in India eat. But it also could be viewed as that was a hint that there was something amiss in that palace. The fact that they were eating that kind of food showed that those people were not who they pretended to be. And then we get to the my second favorite Indiana Jones movie was Sean Connery, of course. The Last Crusade. And then they even have the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull on the back. And just a little tiny bit, because the movie hadn't come out yet, but interesting read. And I also have this. This is something I got at Dollar General. Passport to Adventure. This came out coincided with the movie, and this was just like one of those things to get if you were in the store and you're incredibly bored, you're on a road trip or something, and you need something to read to help you go to sleep in the hotel. And it's mostly about the movie and the last movie. But it's got some good pictures. And it has profiles of the characters in the last movie. And then here's some posters that came with it, if you wanted to frame them on your wall. An official movie poster. Maps. Some of the stuff's just kind of neat, and I can't remember why I bought it. I think it was less than $3 when I bought it, but I think I just liked some of the pictures in it, especially towards the end of this. I liked the Doomtown. and generally just like the way it was laid out. See, there were parts of this movie that I thought could have been so much better. I never felt like I was in South America at any point in the movie. We could have been anywhere. It was very soundstagey. And then the last page shows the cooler movies. So, do I have anything else to show you? That should cover this video, but I have more Indiana Jones stuff if you want to see it. And I sure hope you like this. And if you like this kind of video, let me know. I'll keep making them. And thanks for coming by, visiting, and I'll see you again tomorrow night.